April 10th, 2026. A VTuber named HemomalVT posts a 32-page Google document to the internet. Within hours, 20 million people have seen the tweet. The document is detailed. It has screenshots, payment records, a linked audio recording. The audio is of Sykkuno, one of the most trusted names in online content for the last 6 years, admitting to cheating on his girlfriend and acknowledging his intentions toward the person he was speaking to. He has said nothing since. And the reason that silence is so loud is because of what Sykkuno built his entire career on. Not gaming skill, not entertainment value, not controversy, just one thing: the idea that he was safe, that he was the good one, that in a world full of creators you couldn't trust, you could always trust him. That was the product, and it turns out it was the con. His real name is Thomas. He's 34 years old, Chinese and Vietnamese descent, born in San Gabriel, California. Before any of this, he had a master's degree in statistics and a job as a software developer. He was, by every conventional measure, the person who had figured it out. Stable career, education, nothing to prove. He quit in 2019 to stream full-time, not because he was chasing fame, at least that's how the story always went. He was convinced to try it by Lily Pichu, an offline TV member he'd met playing League of Legends. He didn't love the spotlight, he found it uncomfortable, he was modest about it. He kept saying he was just streaming for fun. He didn't even show his face until February 2020. No webcam for almost a year. When people finally saw him, they loved him more. He was soft-spoken, he laughed at himself, he deflected compliments like they embarrassed him. He seemed like the one creator who genuinely didn't want to be famous. And then Among Us happened. If you were online in the fall of 2020, you know what Among Us meant. It wasn't just a game, it was a cultural event. Millions of people were stuck at home, and suddenly you could watch your favorite creators play together in real time, lying to each other, accusing each other, trying to figure out who the killer was. Sykkuno was in those lobbies, playing with Pokimane, with Valkyrae, with Corpse Husband, with streamers who had 10 times his following, and something about him made people stop and pay attention. He was terrible at lying, famously, comically bad at it. He'd laugh at the wrong time, he'd get flustered when accused, he'd apologize mid-round for something he hadn't done yet. Chat loved it, other streamers loved it. He became the guy you brought into a lobby because his presence made everything warmer. By the end of 2020, he had millions of followers. In April 2021, he played Among Us on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. The quiet, camera-shy developer who had been convinced to stream by a friend was now on late-night television. That same year, he moved into the offline TV house. Not as an official member, the two sides couldn't agree on a contract, but as a housemate. The distinction felt minor. He was there, he was part of it, and his presence in that circle was the final piece of the brand. He wasn't just wholesome on his own stream, he was wholesome around people who knew him. That's the part that mattered. Here's how trust works in creator culture. It's not built through one moment, it builds through accumulation. Every stream where you seem genuine, every interaction where you treat someone well on camera, every time you deflect a compliment, every time you laugh at yourself, every time you seem like the last person alive who isn't performing. That's the process, and for 6 years, Sykkuno ran it flawlessly. The word that followed him everywhere was wholesome. Fans used it, other creators used it, journalists used it as the first word in any article about him. It became so attached to his name that it stopped feeling like a description. It felt like a fact, like something that had been checked and verified. Sykkuno was wholesome. That was just what he was. And that meant nobody looked closer. Because why would you? You check on the people you're worried about. You don't run background checks on the one person everyone already agrees is fine. That's exactly how it worked. On Valentine's Day 2026, Sykkuno followed HemomalVT on Twitter. She was a smaller VTuber, a rising creator, not a household name. He reached out, they started talking, and within the first 2 days of contact, according to her account, Sykkuno had already introduced conversations about meeting in person, moving in together, getting a pet together. He sent her unsolicited gifts, a gym jacket, a copy of Resident Evil 9. He was building something fast. There's a word for this pattern: love bombing. It's a manipulation technique, accelerated emotional intimacy, gifts, future planning, all deployed at a pace that overwhelms the other person before they have time to think. It creates a feeling of connection that feels real because it comes on so strong and so fast. What Hemomal didn't know yet was that Sykkuno had a live-in girlfriend, someone he'd been with since 2021, someone who had moved in with him in 2024, someone who was in the apartment during the calls he was making to Hemomal, which is why she later realized he would sometimes whisper. He was whispering because she was in the other room. The document doesn't stop at Hemomal. That would be a story about one bad relationship. What makes it something else entirely is the pattern. A creator named Elfily came forward. She alleged a 5-year on-and-off relationship with Sykkuno. 5 years during which she says she had no knowledge of his girlfriend. 5 years of being kept at a careful distance from the rest of his life. At one point, he flew her to Paris for the TFT esports event in 2025. He covered her flights, her food, her hotel. He separately sent her 500 euros to help with a move. Then came Bao, a creator in the streaming community who, it turned out, had received a call from Sykkuno's girlfriend after a tweet Bao posted last October raised questions. Bao had told the girlfriend she'd heard similar accounts from other women. That tweet, which had circulated at the time without anyone knowing what it was about Sykkuno. Then came Lena, who goes by Duet Raffle. She alleged she had dated Sykkuno for 4 years. Another creator, Powdery, posted a screenshot of her call log with him from 2023. A creator named VT came forward saying he had contacted her in the same way. Several other smaller creators posted that they had received similar approaches. The number of women, the span of time, the consistency of the method, find someone smaller, someone newer, someone with fewer people watching out for them. Build something fast, keep it quiet, whisper if you have to. The audio recording is the piece that changed the conversation from allegation to something harder to dismiss. At the end of the document, Hemomal links to a recording. It is, according to her account, a call that Sykkuno initiated approximately 30 minutes after she had contacted his girlfriend, a call in which, she says, he admitted to cheating on his girlfriend with Elfali, a call in which he acknowledged what he had been doing with Hemomal. He made that call 30 minutes after his girlfriend found out, not to apologize to his girlfriend, not to sit with what had happened, to call the other person, to try and control the story. As of now, Sykkuno has posted nothing, said nothing. His social media exists, but it is quiet. The same quiet that was always there. He kept his personal life private, he didn't overshare, he didn't discuss relationships on stream. The privacy that read as humility for 6 years is the same privacy that made any of this possible in the first place. Here's what makes this different from the usual creator scandal. Most of the time, the controversy and the persona are separate. The content creator is one thing, what happened off camera is another. The gap between them is what shocks people. With Sykkuno, the persona and the method were the same thing. He didn't just happen to be wholesome on camera while doing something different in his private life. The wholesome brand was the specific tool used to build the trust that made the rest of it possible. It's why he targeted smaller creators rather than peers. Smaller creators don't have the same network of people watching out for them. They're more likely to be starstruck, more likely to be overwhelmed by rapid attention from someone with a 6 million person audience who also happens to be the safest, kindest, most genuine seeming person in creator culture. The persona wasn't a mask over the behavior, the persona was the behavior. It was the opening move. There's an old clip that's been recirculating since all of this came out. It's from a stream, years ago, where Sykkuno was asked if he would ever want to get married. He laughed, looked slightly uncomfortable the way he always did, and said he would, but he'd need someone who didn't have any mental problems. He was joking. Chat laughed, nobody thought twice about it. The internet has been thinking about it differently this week. Other clips have resurfaced too, moments where he talked about keeping his personal life private, moments where his comfort with vagueness read as shyness, and now reads as something more deliberate. The brand was so complete, so long-running, so consistently applied, that going back and looking at 6 years of it now feels like rereading a story you thought you understood and finding the clues were always there. The question isn't whether people should have known. They couldn't have known. The point is that the persona was specifically engineered so they wouldn't need to. Sykkuno had 6.3 million YouTube subscribers and 4.5 million Twitch followers. He moved through one of the most scrutinized communities on the internet for 6 years, and nobody looked closely enough. The people around him, offline TV, the broader creator circle, either didn't know or didn't say anything. Several smaller creators have now said that they felt they couldn't speak up because of the power difference, because of who he was, because he was the wholesome one. That's the thing about trust as a weapon. It doesn't just protect the person using it, it silences everyone around them. Because the accusation always sounds wrong before the evidence arrives. And by the time the evidence arrives, a lot of damage is already done. He hasn't said a word, and somehow, in the context of everything in that document, that's the most in-character thing he's done.